Got your eyes on a home? You'll need the local home loan experts at Guaranteed Rate Affinity. We are a fintech mortgage company that streamlined the home buying process. Our loan officers have direct access to the best real estate agents, giving you a completely seamless home buying experience. Featuring the industry's most advanced tech platform and customized loan solutions, our local loan officers can help you at any time from anywhere. Our digital mortgage and power bid approval will get you pre-approved in minutes with a strong offer even against all cash offers. You need speed to win in this market, and our same-day mortgage delivers, getting you approved in as little as 1 day. Getting you on track for the closing table in as fast as 10 days. Speaking of the closing table, our flash close options shorten the closing appointment from hours to minutes, or skip it altogether. It's your choice. We've made the home buying experience as fast, simple, and awesome as possible for countless others, and we'd love to help you next. Get pre-approved today with the experts at Guaranteed Rate Affinity, and let's get you home.
All right, good day, everybody. Thank you so much for joining a very special call with Dr. Lawrence Yun, who is the Chief Economist for the National Association of Realtors. And in fact, Dr. Yun, this is a very busy day, busy time for Dr. Yun. So we have Dr. Yun until 12:23 Central Time, and then he'll be cutting over to go right to CNBC for some of the updates with what the Fed announcement and the Fed governors are going to be saying later on this afternoon. So very excited to have Dr. Yun with us. I am Frank Ciardelli. I'm the Senior Vice President of Guaranteed Rate Affinity. We are based out of Chicago, Illinois. Our larger parent company is Rate Mortgage, and we are the sister company. Guaranteed Rate Affinity, for those of you that may not know, we are a purchase-leaning mortgage lender. We are the 13th largest lender in the United States, according to Scotsman's Guide at the end of 2024. And we have branches and locations all around the country in all 50 states. So if you are looking for a home purchase with great technology, great personal care from our loan officers, please go to our website and/or go to your Coldwell Banker agents and find out a little bit more about us. But Dr. Yun, really a great pleasure to be on with you this afternoon. And I know that you are a little squeezed for time. We have a great number of people that are on this call anxious to hear what you're forecasting or looking at for the next few months ahead. And so with that, I know that I need to give you permissions back to be a presenter. And there you go. So hopefully we'll be able to get your slides up on the screen.
Well, thank you, Frank, for inviting me again. Hello, everyone. I am in Washington, D.C. A few blocks from here, the Federal Reserve will be making an announcement about their rate decision later today at 2:15 time frame. I have to log off at in 25 minutes because I'll be going on the CNBC live program. So you can have me a few additional minutes by tuning on the television. But let me give you some outlook or the market condition as of now. So let me first put it on the screen here. And okay. And I do believe that you can see total pay job. And Frank or someone on the technical staff can let me know if something is not working. But this is to show that the job market condition right now continue to set new highs. In Washington, there are some job cuts, a little concern from DOGE impact. Some people are saying, yeah, cut away the wasteful government spending. But just looking at the total job number across the country, goes through some fluctuation. Towards the end, you see the COVID lockdown, but coming out of the lockdown, record high. I illustrate this point because jobs means potential home buying. Home buying has not occurred in the past 2 years. So just consider the fact that how many potential buyers could be out there provided the conditions are better. Condition meaning more inventory and lower mortgage rates. So if those conditions develop, one can imagine good portion of this pent-up housing demand released into the marketplace. When I look at the job specifically on a shorter time frame from pre-COVID. So I'm starting right before COVID and recently. So you see the COVID lockdown coming out. But interestingly, federal government never had a downturn during the lockdown. Office job holders, so no recession whatsoever. So the first red box showing no decline from the lockdown, but now the second red box showing about 10,000 job reduction in the month of February, and more to come in March and April months. So people in Washington or other areas were exposed to some federal government employees like Atlanta, Georgia, Center for Disease Control. One can anticipate some reduction in federal government job. Interestingly, total job across the country in terms of government employees actually rose in February because the local government employee added 20,000 jobs. Just to put it in context that, one sector may go down, but another sector may be rising. So if we look at state by state, this is a nationwide audience. If you are in one of the green states, you are the superstar in terms of job creation compared to pre-COVID and most recently available data, how much job addition. So you look at Florida and 11% more jobs. Dark blue would be above national average in essence, but the light blue would be below national average. What I find most interesting in this graph, aside from the job number, is that home price growth is the strongest in the New England states. New England states have really not added jobs, but they're facing housing shortage, lack of home building activity in the New England states for multiple years. Because of the lack of inventory, home prices are the strongest pretty much in the Northeast region, at least in the recent time period. So jobs are strong overall, but home sales did not click along in the past 2 years, well below pre-COVID condition, as you can see. First bar is 2019 pre-COVID, and then we had the COVID real estate boom, or maybe that's not the right word, low interest rate real estate boom. Low interest rate environment really pushed up sales. But once the Federal Reserve began to raise rates, sales went down, and sales went down again. And the past couple of years, lowest home sales activity in 30 years. Some in the audience were not even born then. Population in the US was 80 million fewer people living in the country. So not only jobs, but population. Given we have so many population in the US, 80 million more people, how is it home sales could be this low? But on the other side is potential housing demand that could be released into the market once the conditions develop. Let's look at the builders. Builders are a smaller share of the market, but builders are actually back on their feet. They have increased home sales in 2023 and 2024. So what could explain for the fact that the builders are standing on their feet while the realtors are still struggling trying to get that next business? And the answer is builders can create inventory. They have about 8 months supply of inventory, plentiful inventory. While for the existing homeowners, realtors, past clients, we know about the lock-in effect. Lack of inventory clearly hindering the home sales opportunity. So unless we get more inventory, home sales will be challenged in the existing home market, but it implies that inventory is very critical to get the housing market going. So let's look at the home price movement. So if we look at a longer term time span from pre-COVID to recent, so essentially 5-year time span, green color is again very, very good. So a few Rocky Mountain states, southeastern states, Florida, again doing well, not only in terms of jobs, but home price gain. But the number one in the country is the state of Maine. Maine was 73% price appreciation. Once COVID occurred, many office workers from Boston and New York went up to Maine to get fresh air, get the ocean view, get the mountain view, and buy a property, work from home. But now that there is a return to office slowly occurring, one wonders whether some of the big city will be the beneficiary as some of the people who moved out begin to return into the big city because of some of the return to work office. But every state has positive price appreciation, and this is your past clients, realtors' past clients. They are doing super well. So even though the business condition was difficult the past 2 years, your clients are doing very fine because of the home price gain. In fact, if we were to put it like in the stock market equivalency, household equity in real estate, consider this like Dow Jones of the real estate. It is at a record high. So all-time high, and maybe something you want to illustrate at a time when we are experiencing stock market volatility. So maybe some people say, oh, stock market is good, stock market is good. Well, now they're feeling some of the risk, volatility, uncertainty, but the real estate has provided a solid foundation for continuous growth in equity. In the past 1 year, New England states really doing well in terms of the equity gains. To put it in more manageable form rather than total aggregate, for typical renter, typical homeowner, I'm sure many in the audience have already seen this chart, but it is worth re-emphasizing, again, at a time of stock market volatility, because we don't want any potential first-time buyers to miss out on this graph. Factual information: homeowners build wealth over time. Renters are simply spinning their wheels. So in order to become homeowners, one has to enter the market. Many enter the market when the mortgage rate many years ago were 12% or 10% mortgage rate or 8%. It doesn't matter. They're in the blue bar. They're building wealth. One can always, as we know, refinance their loan at a later time. Again, very powerful graph, especially for first-time buyers. If it's new to you, use this graph. If you're familiar with this graph, well, it's worth re-emphasizing the importance. I discussed the difficulty in annual home sales, but if we look at the monthly figures, we are beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So month-to-month data is showing decline for 3 straight years until October. We saw positive home sales. November, positive again. December, January. We are comparing October versus October. We should never compare home sales in winter months with the springtime. It's just not fair. But you want to compare with the same time period 1 year ago. So if we do that, we have seen 4 straight months of an increase. So you wonder, light at the end of the tunnel beginning to develop. Why? Did the mortgage rate go down? And the answer, at least through January, is no, mortgage rate did not go down. So why is the home sales rising when the mortgage rate did not go down? Before answering that question, right now the improvement in sale principally is occurring on the high-end market, $1 million plus homes. On the lower price point, it is still a struggle in terms of trying to get that sales transactions. So the sales growth in recent months are happening, and principally on the upper end market. But the reason why it's happening is that on the existing home market, the lock-in effect, the strength of the lock-in effect is beginning to weaken. We are beginning to see a little more inventory popping out onto the market. The red box that you see, if you compare with the same time period 1 year before, it is more inventory. So just like the builders are doing sales. Why? They have inventory. Now the realtors are beginning to see some of their past clients beginning to put their homes on the market. More inventory is an early indicator for more home sales. Of the 88 million homeowners across the country, did you know that largest slice of the pie, 35 million Americans, own their home free and clear? Are they locked in if they don't have a mortgage? And answer is no, they can move at any time. But one of the things that may be hindering some of the free and clear homeowners who tend to be elderly is that they bought their home a long time ago and their capital gains are quite sizable. So if they were to sell their home, they could potentially pay the capital gains tax, which is the reason why NAR, one of the top issues that we are relaying to Congress, relaying to the Trump administration, is to bump up the capital gains exemption amount. The $250,000, $500,000 figure, which has not been changed for 30 years, where we're just saying index to inflation. And if this figure was indexed to inflation, the exemption amount would essentially be double, and consequently, more of the free and clear homeowner would be comfortable listing their property onto the market, knowing that they don't have to pay tax. So we are working on that, but just out of fairness, everything rises over time. Social Security check rises over time. Price of movie ticket rises over time. Price of eggs rises over time. Everything rises, but this exemption amount did not rise for the past 30 years, and we're just saying index to inflation to get a larger exemption. If you look at the peach color slice, you can say these are people who are clearly locked in. They have mortgage rate of less than 3%. And to face today's mortgage rate, well, those are painful. So you can say they are truly locked in, except for the fact that there are some important life changes among them. Maybe there is marriages, divorces, death in the family. Maybe they're looking for better school district or new job in different town. They have to put their home on the market and move to the next residence. So with each passing month, more life-changing events, cumulative life-changing events. So expect more inventory to show up in 2025 and beyond. Some homeowners who told their realtors, I'm not going to list my property last year, maybe you want to recontact them. Maybe there is a sizable, significant life-changing event where they want to list. So I believe that the worst in inventory shortage is pretty much over, and expect more inventory, and that would be an early indicator for more business opportunity. As related to the distressed property sales, I'm not really seeing it other than the normal 1 or 2% of transactions are distressed property sales. These are number of homeowners with serious delinquency who missed their mortgage payment by at least 3 months or already in foreclosure. Right now, historically low levels. In the middle was the subprime lending and blow up, terrible mortgage market condition. Thank goodness we don't have those bad mortgages. And the second little blip that you see is the COVID lockdown, where government gave the opportunity to skip payment, and some people took that opportunity. But today, as you can see, historically low default rate condition. So let's go into the forecast, what you can anticipate. Home sales depend upon 2 factors in my statistical model, jobs and mortgage rate. Very common sense. More job, more potential home sales, lower mortgage rate, more home sales. Very common sense. But third factor is inventory availability, and we are now beginning to see a little more inventory coming onto the market. But let me discuss jobs and mortgage rate a little more specifically. Or I should say the job market already discussed, showing that US map with the green color states doing very well, but every state is adding jobs, so that's adding to the potential housing demand. But the mortgage rates, this is the picture of the mortgage rate. Blue is what the Federal Reserve directly controls, while the red is what you care about, 30-year average fixed rate. And in September of last year, Federal Reserve cut interest rate. November, another rate cut. December, another rate cut. Yet mortgage rate misbehaved, refused to go down. In some cases, realtors tell me they had clients who were waiting for the Fed rate cut, but it completely backfired. So don't expect Federal Reserve and mortgage rate to be directly one-to-one. Generally, the 2 lines move together, but not always. So we saw an exception this time. I will go into the reasoning why that was the case. But generally, it would follow the 10-year Treasury. 10-year Treasury is green, red is the mortgage rate. And recently, 10-year Treasury has been trending down because there is an anticipation that the Fed may do rate cuts in the second half of the year today's announcement, I will be carefully listening to the conference call on what they anticipate about the economy, inflation. But once inflation comes down, mortgage rate can behave. Right now, mortgage rates has misbehaved because inflation was not fully under control. But once inflation is under control, Fed rate cut can bring the interest rate down. So consumer price inflation, right now, the most recent 2.8, still a little above the desired level of 2%, but it's approaching 2%. So things are looking better for rate cut in the second half of the year. So what is the prospect of falling inflation and falling mortgage rate? First, tariff war, that would be automatically inflationary, not good for a mortgage rate. But let's keep in mind, there's a deregulation environment coming from Washington. So lower business operating costs means it's disinflationary. It's less visible, it works through the system. So maybe we will have more disinflationary pressure rather than inflationary pressure. Another part is whether oil prices can go down. Drill. President Trump spoke with the Russian leader, Putin. I'm sure they are discussing Ukraine, but I also wonder whether they are discussing about oil prices, because right now, gasoline prices are almost back to pre-COVID levels. If it declines, certainly the transportation cost is reduced. All of the goods that is transported, those costs can come down, so it can be disinflationary. So once inflation is under control, mortgage rate can go down. But one thing that will prevent the mortgage rate from going down to 4% or 5% is this graph. We have a record high national debt. We all know that, but this is a graphical illustration of it. The first blue arrow that you see is what President Trump faced when he entered the office in 2017. Trump #1. During that time period, mortgage rate were 4%, 5%. But we're not going to return to that level, because you see the second blue is what President Trump is facing today, much higher national debt. Government is borrowing. That just means they're eating up private capital, including mortgage money. And less mortgage money is being reflected in higher mortgage rates. So if we did not have this high national debt, mortgage rate would be lower. And I guess this is where Elon Musk comes in to say, well, let's find and identify wasteful government spending, slash it away. We have to address national debt. But we also want to make sure we cut the fat and not the muscle on the bone. Some people are saying, let's get rid of Fannie and Freddie. That would be terrible for the housing market. If the Fannie and Freddie went away, mortgage rate would be much, much higher. President Trump is a real estate person. Some of his advisors will say, get rid of Fannie and Freddie, but I think President Trump will say, no, we need some level of government guarantee so mortgage rate can be a little lower, good for housing affordability. So let me go into my final slide. The forecast. My model is indicating that worst is over, anticipate better home sales in 2025, further gain next year. New home sales, as they produce more, they're going to do sales, but the price increases will no longer spike upwards. Nationwide, prices will only rise around 2%. Maybe the New England state with housing shortage will do better, but maybe it's a welcoming trend where income growth outpaces home price growth to improve affordability. The mortgage rate, new mortgage rate, I think will be more near 6%. And maybe the second half of the year. We are still way above 6%, but I think we will get towards 6%. And I don't really see an economic recession, job growth. The reality is different from this table. That's my timer to say one more minute. The reality would be either 25% growth in home sales this year, possibly, or even 5% growth. I don't know. We have to wait and see. This is what my statistical model is saying, because more jobs is good, lower mortgage rates is good, and now more inventory. So all three factors moving in a better direction. So anticipate more home sales. Don't be surprised if it is 20% increase, but also it could only be 5% increase. The model is clearly implying that the worst is over. So I am going to stop sharing here, and now I'm going to turn it over to Frank, and I have to drop off, but you can tune in on CNBC where I should be on about 1:35, 1:40. Thank you very much.
Well, Dr. Yuen, much appreciated, and we will see you on CNBC in just a few minutes. Thank you again. All right, everybody. Hopefully that was, I would say, an optimistic and hopefully a very accurate. This will be good for mortgages and banking and especially real estate. So Dr. Yuen, take care, and everyone else. We will be having more of these type of calls throughout the year to give you more insights from some of the top economists and forecasters in the country. So thank you so much for joining Guaranteed Rate Affinity's presentation with Dr. Lawrence Yuen, and we will see you on the next call. Thanks again.
Got your eyes on a home? You'll need the local home loan experts at Guaranteed Rate Affinity. We are a fintech mortgage company that streamlined the home buying process. Our loan officers have direct access to the best real estate agents, giving you a completely seamless home buying experience. Featuring the industry's most advanced tech platform and customized loan solutions, our local loan officers can help you at any time from anywhere. Our digital mortgage and power bid approval will get you pre-approved in minutes with a strong offer even against all cash offers. You need speed to win in this market, and our same-day mortgage delivers, getting you approved in as little as 1 day. Getting you on track for the closing table in as fast as 10 days. Speaking of the closing table, our flash close options shorten the closing appointment from hours to minutes, or skip it altogether. It's your choice. We've made the home buying experience as fast, simple, and awesome as possible for countless others, and we'd love to help you next. Get pre-approved today with the experts at Guaranteed Rate Affinity, and let's get you home.